Well, now we've heard about the successful unmanned launch of the Shenzhou-3, which eventually will be China's manned spaceship. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Shenzhou-3 is China's experiment craft for sending people into space. First, it's important to test the technologies in order to ensure the astronaut safety. This time, therefore, China put dummy on the spaceship in the place of astronaut and launched a manned flight. 3 Shenzhou craft have been launched so far. The first was launched on November 20, 1999 from the Jiuquan Launch Center. It orbited the Earth 14 times and was retrieved after landing in the Inner Mongolian steppe. It carries 1 point and was retrieved with a weight of an average adult Chinese. The second launch was on July 10, 2001, also from the Jiuquan Launch Center, and the craft orbited the Earth 108 times. It too was retrieved. The third launch took place on March 25, 2002, this year, from the same launch site. And it circled the Earth 108 times before returning and being retrieved in Inner Mongolia on April 1st, 2002.
Well, now, exactly how large is this Shenzhou-3 spaceship, and what are its main features?
China has announced that Shenzhou-3 is 8.8 meters long, with a maximum diameter of 2.8 meters and mass of 7.6 tons. It can carry 3 astronauts for a total of 7 days. The Russian Soyuz manned spacecraft, which served as a model, was 7.5 meters long, had a maximum diameter of 2.7 meters and a mass of 7.2 tons. So they are very similar. Shenzhou-3 is a test spacecraft for simulating actual manned flight. On the basis of the result of the launch so far, it is now thought that China gets the capability to launch manned spaceflight whenever it wants. On the technological side, there were 3 new features this time. First, the emergency evacuation and other life support systems were all exactly the same as in the real manned mission for the first time. Second, various new technologies were adapted to improve the reliability and safety of launch vehicles. The big improvement included the addition of full redundancy in the control system's self-diagnostic capabilities in case of equipment failure and evacuation capabilities. And third, dummies were placed in the returning modules together with equipment for simulated body metabolism to carry out various tests of the life support system. The orbital module is still in orbit, and in-flight tests are being conducted for half a year. On remote sensing, Earth observation, and measurement of space environment, together with experiment and research in the life and material science.
Well, now, this launch clearly is significant. Could you tell us a little bit about exactly how it is significant for China and the world?
The first point is unlike first and second launching. This time, the flight exactly modeled real manned flight, and everything proceeding smoothly. It showed that everything was okay for manned flight, from the launch to the operation and retrieval. The observer has been saying for quite a long time that China may soon send people into space, and now it's just a matter of counting down the time until that happens. China has acquired the technological base to become the third country to send people into space. That is very significant.
Well, now, a country doesn't just automatically decide it can send people into space, and as you just said, it'll be actually the third country to successfully, once it does successfully, launch a manned space flight. But exactly when did this space program begin?
China's space program really started from around 1956, centered around Xie Xiaoqing, a very famous physicist, after his return from United States. The first Chinese satellite, Tongfang 1, was launched in 1970. Recall satellite was then launched and recalled in 1975. That could be regarded as a technical forerunner of Shunta 3. Recall satellites have been launched more than 20 times. These obviously included spy satellites. And that wanted to recover the photograph, you know.
Yes, yes.
Central was called Project 921. And 921 means in foreign countries. Because it was started from January 1992.
Oh, okay.
The Long March 2F rocket used in the three Shenzhou launch belong to the Long March series. They are improved version of Long March 2E. This is used much more business use. It was 66 Long March series launch and 24th successful launch in the row.
Oh, that's quite a record to be proud of.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, now, the first manned flight could very well be launched soon. When do you expect it to happen? Exactly when will it happen?
Chinese experts and international strategists and are emphasizing that in the U.S. space program needed 7 unmanned launch to prepare for actual manned flight. We can take that this means they don't need 7 or more launches. The success of third launch could bring the forward, perhaps. The success of third launch could be bring perhaps to the fifth at the earliest. So yes, we think that it may happen next year.
Oh, so pretty soon. Yeah.
China regards manned spaceflight as a boost to its national prestige. So I think that timing of the launch could also be influenced by domestic factors. And changing are anticipating next year in China's political leadership with promotion of younger generation. And President Xi Jinping has encouraged the manned spaceflight program with greater value. So his influence certainly cannot be ignored. Common sense says China can probably launch for first manned spaceflight next year.
Well, based on your comments, it seems to indicate that the program is taking off and will be going into different directions and moving ahead quite rapidly. How do you anticipate that China's space program will actually develop from this point on into the future?
This might not be well known, but China's space program is actually very big. And rapid modernization is anticipated in the Chinese economy and society, with World Trade Organization, or WTO, membership, and the space program too is a very considerable source of domestic demand. I think that 10 years longer term space program adopted in 2000 will lead to steady growth of the space development business. The manned space program is divided into 3 stages. The first is send people into space. And second is docking between two spaceships to establish a space laboratory. And the third is to build an even bigger space station, which will be Chinese own space station. A lot of progress has also already been made in developing the new rocket, big rocket, to Chinese parts to this large station. In the near future, China will probably also use exactly the same manned space flight launch technologies to place astronauts in moon orbit.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so they're going to the moon. Are they planning on landing on the moon or just orbiting?
Yes. Launcher Long March 2F is used manned program. Manned program is used moon program. This is very important issue for Japanese.
We'll anticipate finding out more about that.
And the tightening of U.S. export controls with regard to satellite launch technologies has caused a lot of damage in the commercial satellite field. Chinese commercial satellite field is now sleeping. But if those controls were relaxed, commercial rocket launch will also probably return to the former levels. Chinese officials want this issue.
I assume that you can make a lot of money off of launching private satellites. I would guess. I don't know, but now, how will the Chinese space program actually influence international society in the fields of technology, business, and strategy? What do you see happening in these areas?
If Shenzhou makes China the third country to achieve manned space flight, that will make a big statement to the world about cultural Chinese technology. People will know that at least in the same field, Chinese technology is truly excellent. With the technological achievement, it seems inevitable that China will press forward strongly for new gain in business field as well. In the space business, it's likely that China will demand that the United States relax its export controls. In terms of international security, the U.S. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld,
Yes.
said the space will now be the strategic focus. And we saw China's strong intention of military modernization in the visit of Chinese Vice President Hu Jintao and to United States. Next leader of Hu Jintao. And he wants to reopen U.S.-China military dialogue. And his diplomatic effort will succeed. And he wants to only one this issue only in staying in USA.
It's a very important issue which really hasn't gotten very much press in recent years. Yes.
And China firmly opposed the United States missile defense program, but China itself may be conducting research on ASAT, or what is known as anti-satellite weapons, ASAT, as well as expanding its arsenal of MAV. MAV is abbreviation for Multiple Independent Rocket Vehicle. This is military experts say MIRV, M-I-R-V. And so this missile and nuclear weapons. And so China steady efforts and focus on space development will probably therefore increase China's international influence in a various ways. Business, security, or many wide areas.
Well, I hate to admit this, but I must admit that I knew very little about China's space program before we sat down and talked. And obviously, after listening to you, it's an area that we should all be paying quite a bit of attention to because it will have an international impact on all of us. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I have a lot more questions I'd like to ask you, but I'd like to thank you for taking time to talk with us today.
Thank you.